Hey there friends, WafflesTheAsianYenbear here, and today we're going to quickly go over what team I'll be running in the Global World Tournament to make my life easier because, let's face it, if you're not using something like this with AoE units, you're going to be suffering from the grind. But before we do that, it is time for the standard YouTube shill stuff, so don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. But let's go. So nothing on my team is going to be too groundbreaking. A lot of it is pretty darn standard, but if you're new, it might be a little bit odd to see this SR Jocko and SR Chaozu here, so let's just quickly go over the units. So first off, you need AoE units. Those are units that can attack all the enemies on the opposing side of the field. And I like running Physical Broly as a lead because he can kind of pull 2-for-1 duty. He's both an AoE unit and a leader for all the other ones, which works out pretty darn nicely. Then of course you've got STR LR Broly, who does 2 super attacks each turn, and at least the second one is always going to be AoE. The first one will be if you don't get the ultra super attack, but just got to manage your orbs there. And that's usually going to be enough to finish off most teams. So again, you kind of want to just finish off the teams in one turn. So basically that's what we're going to be going for here. Lots of AoE units. Super Boo is on here because he changes orbs for himself and he pretty much guarantees that he's going to get a super attack off. He's also going to hit all units because of course, again, we're trying to get all the AoE units. So while he is going to be a little bit weaker on the team without having good linking partners, it should still put a good chunk into most teams, if not just completely destroy them. And then Physical LR Krillin helps me avoid wasting a slot on using a support, which is what I used to have to do. So now instead we get 4 AoE units, 5 if you count the friendly that we're going to take, which should be Physical Broly or LR STR Broly. I like taking the Physical Broly just because I don't have to worry about ki. But this is basically going to guarantee that we will always have 2 of these on rotations, except for very rare turns where we get both Jocko and Chaozu on 1 rotation, which means that we're almost always going to finish off the enemy in 1 turn. I do recommend grinding this Krillin if you haven't already. You do get a decent amount of stones for finishing while his campaign is still going on. Of course, mine is SA 10, but that's just because I'm still working on getting the last 10 during the campaign, just because the drop rates are higher and it's much easier. And then we get to Jocko and Chaozu, who are always going to stun the enemy on the first turn that they come out. That means we can avoid having to use any items to stun our opponents as long as one of them is around. If you don't know, the name of the game with World Tournament is not only grinding, but getting consecutive win streaks. To avoid taking any losses, you'd never want your opponent to get a super attack off past like level 10 or 15 difficulty, because that's going to hit you really hard. So most players will need to use a Ghost Usher or a King Yama item, at least in the preliminaries where you're fighting 4 different opponents. But if you're using Jocko and Chaozu, you'll need to use way less Ghost Ushers and King Yamas because they're basically going to act as a free Ghost Usher for the first turn that they come out, and that resets every time you're facing a new enemy. It also saves me precious seconds of having to hit a couple buttons to use an item, and helps me not to use my brain as much because again, we're just grinding a ridiculous amount. So it's best if you can just make the grinding as easy as possible for you. Now you get Jocko and Chaozu from summoning. So if you don't have them, make sure to save a copy next time you pull them. There's not really a good replacement for them, so you'll just have to use items and filler units instead. Now, of course, this isn't the only team you can use, but it is the one I prefer. Maybe we'll cover the others in an in-depth guide in the future, but for now, let me know what you're running and feel free to ask questions about your own teams down in the comments below. Until next time, I hope you all have a good day, a good week, a good life, and happy grinding. Bye-bye.